Hey everyone, welcome back to Cooking with Calvin. This week we are exploring the Scotch egg. Scotch egg is going to be sausage that is wrapped around a soft boiled egg and then breaded. Could be deep fried, could be baked, either one. But following up to what we did last week is it's usually made with a pork sausage. Now, as I said last week, whenever I can kind of stray away from using a pork product that's high in cholesterol and high in these fats that your body doesn't necessarily want or need all the time, I'm gonna make a little bit of a better version for you, but still just as tasty. That's important. So we are swapping out our pork sausage for ground turkey, which we can then control the ingredients that are going in so we can flavor it how we would like it to be flavored. The reason that you're using a soft boiled egg is because by the time that you cook everything, it's going to become hard boiled. So if you start out with a hard boiled egg, then it's going to be overcooked by the time you cook sausage and everything. So to make a soft boiled egg, you're going to need to boil water, get some salt into it so that the water actually has a higher boiling point. Once it is rolling, boiling, you are going to drop the eggs very carefully into the water and reduce it to a high simmer and let that sit for exactly 6 minutes. Don't break the egg going into it. Measure out the time, it's exactly 6 minutes. Take it and you can put the pot, pan, whatever it is, right into your sink, turn on the cold water and just have the cold water running onto it until everything is completely cooled down. You want to stop the cooking process right at the 6 minute mark. Any further than that and you're going to get, it's 9 minutes is a hard boiled egg. So it's not that much amount of time between the two to get there. So exactly 6 minutes, stop it, get it under cold water. Once everything's cooled down, peel everything and then we are ready to start. So then over here, ground turkey. I have some dried fennel seeds that'll give us that sausage flavor that we're looking for. Over here, fresh herbs. So I have parsley, sage, and chives. Sage is also going towards what we're looking for, which is that sausage flavor. Chives and parsley adds a little bit of freshness to it and just creates makes a homogeneous kind of taste to everything. Ground garlic and just salt here. Now this is also something that you want to watch your salt on as well, because you're going to have, you want to get a little bit of salt into there, but you're also going to have the hard-boiled eggs, you're going to deep fry it, all of these things where it's going to be a very heavy dish. So just get enough salt to kind of taste everything, but don't go overboard. You can also add it into different steps. We could add a little bit to the meat. We could add a little bit to the breadcrumbs. We could add a little bit to the flour so that it's not all in just one spot. But for purposes of this time, we're just going to put it all into the ground turkey. So starting out, 1/2 pound ground turkey, as much fresh herbs as you want. I tend to go a little bit overboard with it. And get as much garlic as you want. I'd say a little over a tablespoon will make. And just grab a little pinch of salt. And we want to just stir all of this together. You can also get into here with your hands if you want to. Just really looking to get everything incorporated. We're going to start to see all the fat in the meat starting to come together and really get in there, scrunch it together. If you were using a sausage, the whole process would already be done. But as you get a sausage, chances are you don't know exactly what spices and what flavors are into there. So this is also a really cool thing to just kind of control what you're eating and knowing exactly what you're getting into it. So take your mixture. You want to get, it's not going to be a very large layer around the egg. So pick up a good meatball size. If you wanted to make smaller meatballs, then go for a hard-boiled quail egg. And that could get, you'd have a regular size meatball while still achieving that soft-boiled egg on the inside. So what we want to do here is take the amount that we think that we need. Now, if you need more, don't worry about it. We can always add a little bit more onto the end, but you're going to take it and just kind of flatten it out. Then you're going to want to take one of your eggs, and then all you're doing is just bringing all the sides to get around it. Now you're delicately just getting the meat around the egg. Remember, it's a soft-boiled egg, so it's fairly delicate. That's it. Make sure all sides are sealed up. As you can see, that's a fairly big meatball. So that's why I say if you want a little bit of a smaller one, get a quail egg. It's less of something to go around with the meat, so you can achieve a smaller, more appetizer size one. So same thing, one more time. Get it onto a circle, press down. You want to do this right into your hand because then you have more control over it. Also, doing it onto a surface and then trying to get it onto your hand while it's that thin is not going to be fun. So again, just kind of trap that egg right in there. Keep pulling all the sides up. And then again, just scrunch all the meat around it while keeping in mind it's a delicate, soft-boiled egg. There. So now we move on to the breading process. So what we have now, we want to set it up in this order, where we're going flour, egg wash, breadcrumbs. So we take this first one. You just want to kind of roll it in the flour. So the flour is going to be basically how you get, the egg wash wouldn't stick to it if you didn't have the flour for it to catch onto. So you just make sure you're keeping that shape every time you pick it up. By going like this, you're kind of getting all the excess flour. So if you have, it's the same thing, if you have too much flour, then the egg will attach to that flour. And then if it's excess, then it'll fall off and then you've negated everything. And then notice as I get it into the wet mixture, I'm switching to my other hand. When you do any type of breading, you want dry hand and wet hand. When you're doing production of breading, if you're mixing between them, then you're essentially breading your hand and wasting every part of the step. And then washing your hands a lot more, which isn't a terrible thing, but it's more the wasting everything in every step. That's what you don't want to do. Unless you're looking to deep fry your hand, which I don't recommend. So same thing, just rolling it around in it. You're kind of pressing a little bit on it. You want a little bit of pressure to make sure that those breadcrumbs are sticking. And we're putting it right on there. So at this point in the game, you should be getting ready, whatever you're gonna do. If you wanna pan fry it and then finish it in the oven. If you wanna deep fry it, you should be having your oil getting nice and hot. If you're gonna just throw them into the oven and bake them, you should be getting your oven preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So now we come over to my deep fryer setup. I have the thermometer in there. I'm looking to achieve 350 degrees oil, maybe a little bit higher. You gotta understand that once you drop anything into the oil, you're gonna bring the temperature down in it. So if you're at about 355, 360, then you're still within a good range for what you're trying to do here. And you can always adjust the flame, adjust the flame right before you're about to drop everything in. That way you don't really see that much of an influx with the temperature. So now, take my basket here. If you don't have anything like this, I would just recommend kind of getting it maybe onto a spoon or something like that, so you're not dropping stuff directly into the hot grease. Now you're getting it into there. If you can get an internal temperature, get a thermometer so that you can do that. You're dealing with turkey here, so you're going to want to see a temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit on the inside. If your oil is a little bit too hot, you'll see it brown on the outside before it's actually cooked all the way through. Now this is one of those things that's going to be tricky for reading an internal temperature because we do have that egg on the inside, and that egg is something that we don't want to pierce. So if we jam this all the way into the center of it, obviously we would pierce that egg, it would go into the deep fryer, and we wouldn't be achieving exactly what we want to. As you can see, we're getting a little bit of action over here. Once you start to see some color around those breadcrumbs, kind of give it a flip. All right, so we flipped it over, we let it cook for a little bit, and now we're at the point where we want to get these out, get them onto a tray, and then let them finish their cooking in the oven. Just get to that final internal temperature. But let me show you on this what I mean by being very careful and not going to the center. So you almost want to take it, have your thermometer, and get about that deep on it, going at an angle so you're not piercing the center of it, and just kind of be conscious of where you're actually, you're the one who made these eggs. So yeah, we're reading, so you'll know exactly where the eggs are. We're reading about 120. So we just want to get it up another 45 degrees so that it's safe for everyone to consume. And actually cooking in the oven will get it a little bit more crispy for our end product, so it'll work out better for us in the end. All right, we are it took about 10 minutes of cooking in the oven at 350 degrees, but as we insert in, we are getting a read a little over 170, so we are well within the range. One of the telltale signs that you'll start to see is that juices are actually coming out. So that means that the meat on the inside is actually cooking, releasing all of its juices and everything. So when you take this out of the oven, just let it sit for a couple minutes before serving. The breadcrumbs will actually absorb that juice that is coming out. So you don't want to lose all that flavor that's there. So that is it. That is the Scotch or Scottish egg with our little twist on it, of course. And I think all that's left to do is enjoy. So until next week.